Nayani. I'm the CEO of an advisory. Momentum. Why do we need it? Well, simply put, it's needed to get a job done. Get a project, get an initiative from point A to point B. It's a crucial, valuable piece of the puzzle to create that momentum in getting things done. It creates that energy, that drive that is necessary to move a project and the people involved in that project to get from point A to point B. It helps you, manage the changes, overcome the challenges that are related to for a project. Because oftentimes we see, initially when a project gets kicked off, there's that enthusiasm, but then once that period is done, people are like, oh well, we gotta do something else. So the momentum piece is so crucially important to keep that energy level consistent throughout the life cycle of a project, because at the end of the day, teams, people who got that momentum, they're more motivated, they're more energetic to get things done, right? They can garner more support from others who can provide that input to enhance a project. Momentum can help you really reshape the conversations, the dynamics of such conversations, and get you to the project finish line much faster. It provides a focus, right? So those are the reasons that I feel like momentum is really necessary when it comes to any sort of project. Now, how do you create, a momentum? Well, we kind of talked about why it's important and how it all leads to this idea of more energy, more drive, more transparency, more reporting. It creates all of that for sure, but how do you do it? So, well, look at how you want your project to be at the end of the day, right? Like, what's the end goal? What's the end goal? What does success looks like to you, to your project, to your team? And then it's the idea of working backwards from that. When thinking of the project, the end goal, always think big. What exactly are you trying to achieve? They often call it like the big, hairy, audacious goals, right? Like, think in that line. What are those big picture things? Then start by eliminating, the things that don't matter, the distractions, right? Cut them out completely. Be very specific. Be very clear to people. Everyone who's involved in that project, whether it's people at the technical level, people at decision-making level, people outside the decision-making levels who are often consulted and engaged to keep that momentum being built. When you're trying to create momentum, it's important to have a schedule in place for the overall project, but also for the smaller chunks within the project, providing those timelines on a regular basis, assigning the ownership of different things within that arrive as part of a project, assigning ownership of those tasks to the people, to the members of the team. I think that also helps build that momentum. Collaborating, it's not about a one-person show ever in any sort of project. So, collaborating, meeting regularly. In our cases, we do like the bi-weekly conversations on almost every project of ours to just make sure that there is that momentum and people know what's happening, because that is what leads you to that end goal, the end vision. And when you get to that place, well, don't forget that you got to celebrate success, right? So building that into your project timeline, whether it's at a milestone basis, whether it's at the end of the project, midpoint, whatever works, having that opportunity to celebrate the success, because that is all that leads to this idea of momentum, creates a culture of momentum in that way. But one thing I'll say is there's a lot of upfront work that is required to get to that place, right? Like, oftentimes there are projects that get started because of that enthusiasm factor at the start. but then they kind of slow down right away. And that's where a lot of work is required. And it's hard because, especially harder if you're going into a new client engagement, because there's always going to be that lack of trust. So how do you work on building that relationship? It requires that upfront investment, which then, once that is established, it leads to that momentum that we're all really looking for in our lives, in our project life cycles, I guess. So that's how you create momentum. And if you would love to learn more about it, please visit us on our website, www.znadvisory.com.